that our educational system has not changed in 100 years. Shouldn't we all work together to have the same type of scientific approach and try to identify how can we appropriately identify talents? How can we look for multiple metrics? And how can we create a community where students feel like they're recognized and they're supported? So a couple things I want to share with you. So I became a high school teacher. I was excited to do that. I was actually in the PhD program for mechanical engineering and decided that at this point I'm going to be a professor. I worked as an aerospace engineer, and so I have a lot of practical experience coming in as an engineer. I went in thinking I'm going to transform education. We're going to go with hands-on stuff. But there's a TED Talk by Ken Robinson. He talks about how the educational system's in our DNA. And just like lockstep, I fell right into it. I became the charismatic teacher. The charismatic coach teacher helps kids that couldn't do well in AP Physics to suddenly get 4s and then 5s. And soon the majority of my students were getting 5s. And I had dozens and dozens of students, wanting to take my class from before, when there was just very few people wanting to do that. The other thing that I discovered, I came in from industry where there were no women. I came in from physics academia where there were no women. And I came in also from engineering academia, also no women. But when I came and started teaching, there was one thing that had changed since when I was in high school. Colleges started really looking for students to have 3 years of science. And so when I started teaching physics classes, my physics classes were gender balanced, unlike what I experienced when I was in high school or in all my college experiences. When I started the Engineering Academy, I practiced with all the material I was going to use in these physics classes. And in the first year we offered the Engineering Academy, all I did was put the word engineering in front of the word physics. And with that one word, 2 girls and 33 boys signed up for the class. The reason that's so important and so powerful is because I knew that this is the way it was supposed to be. I think that we all accept the gender balance, the diversity balance, and think that these problems aren't solvable, but I was fortunate enough to be put in a situation where simply changing one word changed the entire demographics of the people who signed up for the class. I refuse to accept that, and as you can see now, we have a program of 400 students. We have 50% young women in the program, and these young women are flourishing as well as the young men, and everybody is basically happy, and there's no difference in the way they approach the material. With that, I also want to talk about just the way that we think about teaching. So I had taught AP Physics, so I was feeling really good about myself. In my second year teaching, more students got a 5 on the AP test than in the entire history of the school combined. I was feeling like I'm making a difference. Parents were applauding me, everything was great. And then what happened is I started offering robotics at our school. I offered a senior robotics class, and I recruited all of the juniors in my class to come and do robotics with me. And this is what happened. I've got a robot sitting on a hill, and I want to figure out whether the robot's going to be able to drive up the hill, but there's enough friction between the treads. These kids that I taught AP Physics to, who got the 5 on the AP test, raise their hands, and they say, did we learn this last year? Because it's not a block on an inclined plane. I mean, that's the reality. There's no practical application. So I want to show you what I think is a better way to teach physics. Just a robot that I designed for my students for a competition called First Robotics. And the students that worked on this, it worked with all different types of learning styles. Students who could build, students who could calculate, students who could program. And when I ask you this, if you were going to have a student come into your undergraduate program, would you rather have them have a survey high school physics class, or would you rather have them spend their time being able to do something like this, where they're actually creating something from scratch, reimagining it over and over again, and ultimately building the highest scoring robots in the world out of thousands of robots? I think that we all know what the answer is, at least I hope we do, that something like this is going to inspire people, that this is the type of thing that we would like our students to be able to do. So our program focuses, and this is a non-comprehensive list, this is just some of the types of things that we try to foster in our program: creativity, problem solving, critical, willingness to embrace iteration. It's a real hard one for kids these days, their willingness to start over, collaboration, communication skills. And so I started to work to try to develop projects beyond the robot, and also just as a testament to the fact that I really do love physics. I love physics so much that I came up with this concept called carousel physics, and worked on designing this with my students, and so I'll share with you this. This is a project that went into a local museum in Park.
This kinetic installation was designed and built by high school seniors of the Dos Pueblos Engineering Academy with the guidance of their teachers and volunteer engineering mentors. The Dos Pueblos Engineering Academy, also known as DPEA, is a 4-year specialized educational program at Dos Pueblos High School in Goleta, California. DPEA students participate in project and design-based curriculum rooted in science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics, also known as STEAM. The vision and specifications for this ambitious project were initially conceived of in 2013 by MacArthur Fellow and Dos Pueblos Engineering Academy Director Amir Abushair. His goal was to develop a challenging and collaborative experience that was capable of engaging all 61 students enrolled in the senior capstone mechatronics class. This one-of-a-kind project, consisting of over 50,000 parts, was created from scratch during the course of a single academic school year and was completed in June of 2015. The carousel of physics is made up of 15 sectors in the shape of pie slices attached to a central core. Each sector was created by 4 students and demonstrates thematically related physics concepts. The entire carousel has more than 100 mechanisms that are controlled by a network of over 40 microcontrollers. Metal balls are delivered to each sector from the central core. When a sector receives a ball, it begins its physics show. The balls have 2 functions on a sector, serving as either narrators or actors depending on the physics concepts being demonstrated. In the case of the narrator, the ball travels along a path as it makes its journey through the sector. It stops at each physics demonstration to guide the viewer through the presentation. In some specialized cases, the ball becomes a part of the physics demonstration while making the journey through the sector. In all cases, the ball is returned to the central core by the sector when the show is complete. Thank you for coming to view our project. We hope you enjoy your experience.
So we built that project, and the whole idea was that I could engage students in everything that was physics. We went through the entire physics textbook and decided how could we get every possible experiment that was exciting, the demos that people don't normally get to see unless you take a really advanced physics class. How can we put those out in the community? And in doing that, we created something that we were able to basically use as an outreach tool and to bring in all different types of people into the tent of what is physics. So I'm a little short on
This
time.
sector demonstrates concepts related to waves and oscillations. The first project was created by Bella Dark. It consists of an elevator which raises and activates a double pendulum. The double pendulum has 2 hinge points, which makes its motion unpredictable. This motion demonstrates chaos theory. The next project was created by Jesse Spire. It consists of pendulums of different lengths that form a pendulum array. All the pendulums are initiated simultaneously, but because they have different lengths, they have different frequencies oscillation. The varied frequencies allow the system to create many different wave patterns. This project also shows that a collection of single oscillators can collectively create wave motion. Either add or subtract. This effect can be seen when two water waves collide with each other and form new wave patterns.
And again, because we're late, I'm gonna push on. Some students last year, so inspired by the project that you just saw, said, what if we could do that with springs and masses? And so these two young women came up with a design for this, and this is actually going into a museum next week. And so, as you can see, the tuning on this is pretty incredible. The phase relationships between that right now, you can see it's perfectly off, perfectly back, going back to the waves, and then you'll see that it's going to re-establish itself with the original wave pattern. And then finally, they're going to all go up and down, oscillate together. This thing will do this and stay in phase like this for about 6 or 7 times in a row, and the tuning that it took to get that to happen was pretty sophisticated. So now we get to this coming full circle thing. People come from all over the country to visit our program. They want to understand what we do. And now I have been guilty of what was done to me by that professor. So people come and they talk, and because I have had it's so ingrained in my head that I'm not the champion academic, I still have a hierarchy in my mind. Like there's academics, and then there's maybe me, and then there's the next students. And so when folks have come and talk to our program, I say, you know what, you're going to be fine, you can do this, I'm not that smart. And my wife was sitting with me, she's a co-founder of our program, and she said, you can't keep saying that. You bring all these people in, they have no idea how you've even begun to create this program that we got here, and when you say that, it undermines everything. And so in the same way, I've replicated that with this I'm not that smart thing. But the I'm not that smart thing I need to understand is basically it's really the most important talent. I don't know if there is one. I think that there's a very way to look at the human spirit when people come to the community. So this right here is going to basically show you what it is we do and why we do it.
Are you excited? Do you know what it is?
Here comes the ball. Guess how far this mirror thing goes back. And then we go through that wall. Anybody have a guess as to how thick it is? Want to do your hand measurements? What do you think?
15 inches.
15 inches. That's pretty precise. So check it out. The sector's end right here. So it can't be deeper than here. Turns out it ends about where my hand is.
It was interesting how they moved, and then how, like, you came Kuwait, they didn't talk about it. I wish we had, like, 3 hours or something. I like that when the rings got the magnetic part started lighting up, and then when it went sideways, that it didn't work. I think that I would want to go to here when I'm
You guys want to see another one? Are you ready to go? Sure? And so basically those kids right there, every one of those kids is loving physics. So you heard the one kid, he's like, I want to hang out and watch these physics experiments for 3 hours. And we actually had that happen in the museum. We had it installed in the museum for about 6 months. And we had kids, when we knew it was going to take it out, the family decided to bring my kids back. They wanted to see it before it got taken out. Around there. So every one of those kids is excited. And every one of those students could basically be coming into something that's untold at this point. And what I'm concerned about is how those kids are going to have the same type of experience as me. And will they have the tenacity that I have to stick with it despite every day feeling like I was not really worth it or worth the time of the folks that were educating me.
花見がいいですね。
Really worth the time of the folks who were educating me. I think that, again, this is not meant to be a downer. This is really meant to be a call to action. It's about talking to all of you who engage with people and who are responsible for the education at all levels to say, how can we help people feel more included, and how can we give people opportunities to share what they can bring to the whole physics picture? Because at the end of the day, I think that the value that we have of speakers before me who are doing this incredible research that's going to change the way that we function as a society, the value of the work that we have, we're talking about getting people to crowdsource these biological, instruments to be able to do that, all of that, it's all part of the whole spectrum. And so it's my hope that after kind of listening to this and watching this, that this can be the beginning of a dialogue, maybe internally in schools, across all different grade levels, of how can we really value for all the different talents, and how can we, rather than, I was in a talk earlier today, we were talking about sink or swim, how can we still have a sink or swim model, have a model where we say, if we accepted this student into our program, then it's our job and our responsibility as educators to educate them and to support them through this process and to help them make it. Because the reality is, and we in the program, 95% of people that major in physics will not become physics professors. But I would argue that the metric we use every day in our schools is to evaluate whether or not they're capable of being a physics professor. What about the other 95%? And you can see it, there's little blurbs in there. It says, figure out what you can do with your physics degree. I mean, we should be helping people understand that while they're getting their degree. It should be obvious to anybody while they're getting their degree the opportunities that they have. science. Here, all of our students have access to science, and then we turn them off. So let's just reach out and say, work with me to try to transform education and try to create a model where we can provide every single person with the opportunity to participate in science and find their place in science and find their contribution to the scientific community. Thank you. I know we're running really late, so if people don't have questions, it's all good. But if you have questions, I'm happy to stay.
May I? Thank you for that very inspiring talk. I have two questions. The first one is when you mentioned that when people come to this lab project, people with math talent, field talent, and hands-on talent, they all find something to do. Then my question is, how do you define so the people they are going to have, they are more likely to have this type of talent, and the other people are more likely to have another type of talent? Maybe some of the things, for example, math needs to be routed down, like everybody needs enough math education to background. So that part, maybe it's not worth to be like that. Maybe like we need to think deeper, and maybe other little things that are university needed. That's my first question. I want to hear your comment. Second is like this type of high score is terrific, but what is going to be the cost per student? Like in the Bay Area, maybe the most expensive school district in this country, average access to math, hands-on field science supplies is very limited still.
Okay, thank you. The second question is easy. It's about $8,000 per student, and we raise about $2,000 per student to make that happen. That's not very hard math. We spend less than national average to do this. It's just about mindset. So the second part of your question is, university, I want to be offer math and all of that. We all know that physics is very, very hard. But when we do mechanical engineering afterwards, straight A buttons, super easy. Messed with my brain, it was great. So I don't want to sound like I'm not academic or not rigor, but I just want to express the fact that there are ways to think about how to measure people in multiple ways. One of the things that we do with our school setting is that the projects fundamentally have multiple points of talent entry. So as a result, every kid is actually doing every kind of different skill in our projects, but some of them, they're feeling weak in certain areas and we support them, and in other areas they're shining. And the ability for them to shine, and some people shine at everything, and some people shine at one thing, but the fact that they have the ability to shine and have the ability to see things that speak to them, and that's what really keeps them going and what motivates them to stick with it. So I hope that answered that. I'm good with whatever next.
Thanks very much for the talk. My question really was a more practical one. So back to Physics Carousel, you guys made this awesome, and I wonder what happened to it, and is there any chance we could go on loan to other places so other kids could enjoy it?
That's a great question. So that was a real crazy experiment to try to design. We literally designed the thing from scratch in an academic year. I mean, it was hey, we're going to make a carousel, and then 9 months later, boom, 50,000 parts all knew where they needed to be. As a result, it's a prototype in of sorts. I mean, it's a one-off, and it is somewhat finicky. And we also made some bad decisions because they really made bad decisions. Project manager, a student said, "Use thermodynamics," and I'm like, "Great." And then we tried to put a museum in like Cannon Fire, and then we had electrostatics, which was awesome. It's great, it worked. But guess what? Electrostatics, no matter how much you shielded it, interfered with the Arduinos, etc. So we brought it back to our place, and we went through now sequentially identifying sectors that were poorly kind of thought out. Read to, and what's going on right now is it's basically being repurposed so that we can put it out again into the world. And certainly that would be the idea, is to get it to the point where I don't think it's the kind of thing that could ever go and just sit and just run. I think it's going to go into a museum. If you ever, there's at the Lackwood, there's a little cityscape with all the cars. You know what I'm talking about? And they run it 15 hours a week, and they have a docent, a technical docent who knows how to maintain it. I think that it could easily fall into that category because we were able to run it at that level for many, many months with very limited kind of failures. Right. Is that the only question you had?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, absolutely.
Hi, thank you very much for your talk today. I had two questions. The first was your first slide talked about your number of students and teachers, and it ends up working out to about 40 kids per teacher, which seems really, really big to me. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about how that works. And I had the second question. So at the talk earlier today about women in physics and like the leaking pipeline, and how that happens sort of in between high school and choosing physics in college. And you're working with a step before that, middle school to high school. And I was wondering sort of what your applicant pool looked like, and also how to make application decisions.
Right, I'm going to answer that. I'm going to answer a little more on that question. So with regard to application decisions, we're really looking for people that are passionate, excited, want to learn, want to do all of that kind of thing. It turns out that it's really fairly easy to get to 50% women are using even a very objective metric. Because the women who choose to do this, even at this point, are still trailblazers. And then because of the trailblazers, they typically have better grades, better test scores, and all of that. So it's turned out to be a pretty easy thing to be able to do that. What I want to say, I think it's really important for me to share with you what that I basically do an exit interview with all the young women in our program to make sure that they understand what they're about to go into, and to help them. What we do is we typically will take students to companies that are the type of companies or places they would like to go. They obviously see college as an option as well, where they get to know. And then we got our program, and they know that that's kind of bookending what is ultimately going to be, let's just be real, probably a masculine-centric environment they're going to go into. And by prepping them with that, and by showing them kind of on the front end and on the back end what kind of environments they can work on, that gives the students the motivation to be able to stick with it. And the other thing is just kind of helping the students understand the leg up they have. So this is going to be kind of a longish answer, but it's powerful. I've got a young woman, she's at USC majoring in mechanical engineering right now, and about 3 months into her senior year, I said, what are you thinking of majoring in? If you're familiar with a Bridgeport milling machine, it's a very large machine that cuts metal. They were in the video, and this girl, she's sitting here, and she's cutting apart, she's been designing, she's got metal in her hair, and the reason I say this is, she's working on this machine that I didn't even see until I was a senior in college. And she says to me, I think I want to major in mechanical engineering, but I'm worried about all of the guys that I'm going to be competing with who've been working on cars in their garages. Juxtapose that against this image. I'm looking at her going, what are you talking about? She's cutting apart, she's got a print, she's just doing it with one hand, having a conversation. And I said to her, you need to understand, I'm sorry that you can't see this because our program feels so normal to our students. You're like in the top 1/10% of hands-on and kind of knowledge of what it is to be a mechanical engineer. So that's that question. And the other question was the 40-1 ratio. Our program is not a school, it's a program within a school, and so we don't have, our ratios are actually on the low side. We don't have the students every period of every day, and so therefore there's a fraction part of the day. So when it comes out, what happens is freshmen, sophomores, juniors, they're not much easier class to run, so 25 students per class, and we get to the seniors. years, that's where really the uptick in cost goes, because we might be working with maybe 10 or less students at a time.
So I'd like to call for our fourth speaker, this is Professor Manu Prakash from Stanford University, and he will speak about his work in putting physics in the service of improving global health.
Thank you for inviting me. It's an absolute honor to talk at this meeting. I think one of the things I'm going to try to do is share a little bit of the broader vision for what we've been trying to do in the context of a word that I'll use very often. I call it frugal science. The idea that I want you to just for a moment think a little bit about this. We're the lucky ones who have access to a lot of scientific tools, and the world, in a broader sense, doesn't actually have. There is a limitation in access to science. So most of the talk really will be focused about it, but I'll try to give you a few examples where we do span in and start thinking about the context of global health and education. Where do physicists fit in that picture? This is none of this work will be students that I work with. We do have a very scatterbrained lab. Much of it is in biological physics that I won't actually touch on today itself, but there are a remarkable group of people that I get a chance to work with and be inspired. One of the works that I'll talk about is with my graduate student Jim, another postdoc Saad Bamla. But one of the important aspects of working on a topic like this, which has a societal implication, that we have to work with society. So there are an incredible number of people out in the field that we work with that have truly shaped much of the work that I'll mention. So let's start with the challenge. This is a picture that I took in Ghana, and needless to say, this is what an average school in the world actually looks like. Now you might not care because this seems very far away, but ironically, if you think deeply about it, we have a challenge in education where kids don't get to directly experience science, whether that's in a developing or a developed country. 1 billion kids in the world today, according to standards, are $2.5. That's 1 billion kids, about 2 billion kids that are actually in school. So what are the tools of creativity? What are we going to provide them to be the group of people who are going to tackle some of the most important problems that we will actually leave behind for them on this planet? Now, this is another picture. It just so happens that I took this picture in Ghana as well, which is this idea that a bus stop is not a hospital. This is a group of patients waiting patiently once a week for a doctor to arrive in a little way, once a month to arrive. Several of these kids actually have malaria and a deadly disease, which if not detected and treated within a couple of weeks' time, can actually lead to death. And if you look at the statistics of this, people time and again are living without access to roads, electricity, or traditional healthcare. And this is hard sometimes and quite remote from our daily lives. So I want you to just picture some of the extreme challenges we face on this planet, and what, as physicists, can we do to contribute? I know we can't tackle and solve all the problems and have these problems go away, but I do believe there are instances where we can engage in this problem community and the problem set of challenges. This is probably the most heartbreaking picture that I have taken in my life, and this is the only picture like this I'll actually show, but I just want you to understand the problem because you have many solutions, and I want you to, when you walk away from this, to be thinking about some of these problems. I was in Tororo, Uganda. This happens to be the highest infectivity rate of malaria in the world. In a single day, you might get bitten by 5 to 7 mosquitoes that are infectious. So imagine the number of times you could potentially get infected in an entire year. I walked through, of course I didn't speak the local language, and my interpreter told me, do you know what the kids were sitting on? And there's a pregnant mother in the background. They're actually sitting on the grave of their brothers and sisters. Infectious diseases still today, I mean just malaria alone, the number's around 400,000 a year. When you really combine the impact that infectious diseases have, where we do have solutions, we have a drug. You could get a drug to a person with malaria and cure them. And this is actually one of the field sites that we work in. So the challenge of what I describe frugal science is the idea that although knowledge is slowly becoming really accessible, very soon it will be free to all. Experience of science is not. So how do we really bring, when I say access to science, I don't mean Khan Academy and Wikipedia. I truly mean the experience that all of you turned into science, which is the aha moment. And personally, the work that I'll share, there will be a few examples of tools and gadgets that we built, but mostly the work that we do is to really enable communities around the world to experience that aha moment, in a hope that eventually that leads to something remarkable at a later time. So we've spent a lot of time in the field over the last couple of years, and many of these people have truly inspired us to do what we do. There's a gentleman here in Uganda who, once we talked about the type of tools we wanted to bring to the table, he said, what you're really trying to do